Meeting of Lee County School Board will come to order at this time, and we'd like to ask Member Paige Brookins if she would offer our prayer and our salute to the flag.
Please stand. Please pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, it's a privilege to come to this board meeting and begin our meeting with prayer. Please help us to direct and guide our hearts and our thoughts, and please help the words of our mouth to be pleasing to Thee. I ask You to be with all of our students, our parents, our teachers, our administrators as they go through life and through the school day. Thank You for everything You've given us, and please help us to always remember that it all came from You. We ask all these things in Your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Brookins. Come to the part on our agenda now where we welcome visitors that are on the agenda. If they have anything to say, let us know, and we'll certainly recognize you. You have to. All right. Don't know what your folder contains itinerary-wise in there, but please be reminded, 10 minutes.
Well, thank you.
That's
Thank you.
a little bit more than you had last time.
I'll probably take about 3 minutes of your time, so thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you, board. Welcome, good morning. Thank you, guests, visitors. The last board meeting that I attended it actually epitomized that culture of intimidation and the fear of retaliation that I proposed was a part of our educational culture. Prior to the last board meeting, I'd asked to be put on the official board agenda. That request was denied. I'd asked for 30 minutes. I was given 15. Thank you. During the board meeting, I asked the board members to extend the time back to 30 minutes. And there was complete silence on the part of board members. You deferred to Mr. Delaney, the board lawyer, to speak on your behalf. In an attempt to use objective data to measure to what degree politics and a culture of intimidation and fear of retaliation exists in our culture, I proposed a survey to employees so that the board could actually have data to make a decision. Mr. Hastings said that it would be gross insubordination if I were to do this survey with you. I asked you to rescind that word. Once again, as a board, you were silent. Last night, as Brian Williams on NBC Nightly News was leading into a story, he said, it's one of the few rules the news media and the mob usually both adhere to leave families out of the fight. Well, it would seem that this is not a rule that Mr. Hastings adheres to when in the Levy County Journal he mentions my wife and how I threw her under the bus when I publicly criticized the school district for a lack of academic performance. Mr. Hastings also said that I've gone off the deep end. I would ask that you try not to, or you refrain from attempting to portray me as a disgruntled employee. Don't attack me personally because I'm bringing low student performance to your attention. It's called data. It accurately reflects our student achievement and growth and how we compare to the other 67 Florida counties, the school districts. It would be nice if you were not so quick to lord your power over us, but if you would rather empower us to speak and to participate in this conversation. When Mr. Hastings says that I publicly criticized the school district for a lack of academic performance, he's spreading misinformation. The superintendent sets the tone for all employees of the district and the board members. In a way, whether you, I guess, like it or not, you are complicit when you go along with and when you sign off on all of his actions. I applaud the efforts of all staff at the district and at the schools for all of our successes. Just imagine what heights of student achievement we could reach if the lid of intimidation and the fear of retaliation were lifted from our shoulders. When we talk about data, it is not throwing someone under the bus. It's data. It's facts. It represents the performance of our students on the superintendent's watch and board members on your watch. This represents your professional report card. If we keep doing the same thing the same way, we're going to keep getting the same results. For the last 6 years, our efforts to academically prepare our students for their future have steadily declined to the point where in 2014, Levy County is at the 20th percentile rank when compared with Florida's 67 school districts. We've had a losing season for the last 10 years. We haven't broken 50%. And for the last 6 years, the downward trend is even steeper. For the last 6 years, Mr. Hastings, he's been, let's say, the coach of this team. And board members, you've been the coaching staff. The downward trend can't get much lower. I mean, we're at 20%. So more than likely, the data for 2015 might actually increase some. But I want to say that this is your leadership. This is what we've been doing. May I ask how much you get paid to sit on the board? Would someone care to share with us how much you get paid?
Public record.
Okay, and so I think, again, a wonderful opportunity to give you an opportunity to actually come up with that information. It is public record. Would you like to tell us how much that is? So you
It's
know it is
right
public
around
record.
24, 25.
23, 24.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And that guideline is set by the state.
Right.
It's given, and they set that, the salary. And it's based on the number of students that we have in our district, in
Thank
our
you very
area
much.
and county.
Thank you. So you're publicly elected officials, and as board members, you represent the check and balance for school board employees, for us, for me. We depend on you. Your constituents expect you to ask the difficult questions. And at times, it does seem as if you're hanging us out to dry.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Mr. Lawrence, so that's absolutely not what I don't feel that way. That we sincerely care.
And I know you do. I just wonder if we're asking the right questions. And Paige, I look at where we are, what we've been doing, and I wonder if we need to be asking different questions, or more difficult questions, or more perceptive questions. Have you thought about why Mr. Hastings threatened to fire me if I were to share some survey questions with you? I mean, after all, it's just questions. That's all it is. It's just knowledge. The learner law says that you don't have to take any action if you don't want to. It doesn't prevent you from taking action. You need answers to the elephant in the room. Please request that the survey be placed on the official board agenda, where there can be a disciplined, well-thought-out discussion about the survey. And then vote to allow school board employees to take the survey. Then and only then will we get beyond the everybody's got an opinion and you're welcome to your opinion phase. We'll actually be looking at data. Then and only then will you know what school board employees, the people you represent and were elected to serve, then and only then will you know what they think about the culture that they so deeply care about. Thank you.
Thank you. Item C on our agenda, review of board policies 1 and 2.
Is there anything?
But I guess If there is anybody, anyone else have anything they would like to address to the board? Thank you. If not, then we will move on to item C. Thank you again, Ms. Brookins. Mr. Edison.
Okay. The board members, you have on your desk board policies for chapters 1 and 2.
Can I get another copy? Mine's not downloading.
There should be a paper copy on the desk. Here's the next one.
Go boss, don't mind.
Get used
Sure,
to it.
like. Now?
Get used to that, Mr. Asbell, just lying there next to him.
You put your stuff up, or get it on time, I wouldn't have to be worried about that kind of stuff.
That's
Policy 1.01 is the district mission statement. And as you can see, this is back in 2009, was the last time this was done. And just ask your question, back in the advanced ed accreditation process, there was a lot of work that went out with all the schools and developing a district mission statement, which is right here.
Right.
And so I guess my direction or my question to you is, do you want this to change to reflect the mission statement as a development of an advanced ed process?
I believe it needs to.
Yes, we did adopt that as the mission statement, so I think consensus to that. Yes, sir, thank you.
Yeah, I thought we had a meeting and we met on that, and we just never changed his policy.
Good time.
Right.
1.02 talks about the scope of the school district.
I guess if we do this, I think we probably already have read through these. So any questions as he designates what area he's referring to, we'll pause for that. So they would be in the best interest to take time to read verbally every one of them at this time.
2.01 is the responsibilities of the school board. And 2.02, you actually just participated in this last week or so, the reorganization of the school board. And 2.03 just authorizes the chair to appoint committees, and I think y'all did some of that last week.
Yes.
2.04 talks about school advisory councils. The important part in this section here is that the school advisory council represent the composition of the school. And then it's mainly parents. Michael Holman is kind of the point on the school advisory councils, the school improvement, all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of that is done to fulfill the title requirements.
It doesn't say there anywhere on the advisory committee about what time they meet.
Well, what it is per statute is that that has to be approved by the school advisory council itself. They're the ones that have to set that calendar, they're supposed to.
I've heard, that some schools have advisory committee meetings in the middle of the day.
They're the ones that the advisory committee is supposed to set the time, so when they can meet. I mean, if you read the law, and what it says is that if you miss a certain number of meetings, you're supposed to be kicked off. And that was, if we restricted that, then we probably wouldn't have anybody on there.
That's right.
So, but they're the ones that tell the time that's convenient for them to meet. Some of them meet during the day, some of them meet at night.
So the committee
But they're the ones that are supposed to make that decision.
Okay.
I'm sure they'd love for you to serve on that.
No, that's not the point. The point is, I think they have to say sometimes when nobody can coach.
Can be there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what I think.
Some of them have them right before PTO. I think Joyce Bullock has theirs. I think Quantum maybe
And
does
the
the same
learning
thing. So family learning nights.
Then learn that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. 2.05 talks about the board meetings. And agendas and all that stuff, and everything should be done.
establish a meeting as an informal meeting, whether you meet all of the criteria, I guess I'm directing now the council, but you follow all of the rules of notification, et cetera, at those meetings, you're able to take action as well, correct? I think our board policy pretty much indicates that all informal meetings and conferences involving school board members shall be conducted as public meetings unless specifically exempted, and obviously we wouldn't be doing that.
So you mean a
Could you
meeting
take action at an informal meeting?
that's been properly noticed and you've got a quorum at?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
2.06 talks about school board rules, and this is the process through policies are adopted. So we have to they have to be advertised for 28 days. And I'll tell you something in practice, I think, I personally, as somebody that does the school board policies, I would like to be able to bring we'll bring the policies to you. I would like at the next board meeting to talk about it. This is after y'all have a chance to read them, if you want to adjust and amend them, instead of waiting for after the 28th day to have a conversation about it. I'd like to have a conversation about it along the law.
Yes.
It would help me in my process here to get it right when we at the end, as opposed to trying to discuss it right at the end.
I agree with that, and we could ask questions and,
Right.
yeah, certainly.
2.07 is just talks about schedule for leave requirements. And 2.8, collective bargaining agreement. In other words, if something's conflict with the collective bargaining agreement, with our policies need to be made right with the collective bargaining agreement.
Because the bargaining agreement trumps
That's right.
policy, correct?
2.09, again, talks about school improvement plans and educational accountability. And I need to get Michael to, if you look on the 4th page, there's some language in here that I don't believe exists anymore. We're talking about EYP in city schools, so we need to update this from more. This seems to change about every other year.
What are they doing? Can you enlighten us a little bit as to briefly what those changes are?
Well, it's more of a nomenclature change than anything else.
Okay.
You still have, you got your grading system, and you have schools that, they have different classifications, but they're not called senior schools and things like that. AYP is kind of gone. So it's a nomenclature change, it's not a support and assistance change. We still, if the school is a certain level academically, we still have to provide them more assistance. If the school's an F school, then that means the state comes in. Yeah.
So our language will be changed to reflect that.
Yes, sir. 2.091 is the parent and family involvement. Again, a lot of this is title takes care of. Compliance on this one. Any questions? 2.10 program of awards. Each year you recognize Teacher of the Year, ESP of the Year, recognize students for their academic achievement and different achievements throughout the year.
And the schools choose how they want to do Teacher of the Year. It's their choice.
Yes, ma'am. They vote on that. Well, I've heard, I guess that's something we need to gather up. I know high schools have voted on those already.
Yeah, we're gonna, the 10th, December 10th will be the day the 3 counties come in and interview for our district
Okay.
teacher and ESP of the year. We do that with a 3-panel interview team from different counties that come in. And they select the district and all the schools. The schools select their own ESP and teacher of the year. And then they come here for an interview with a 3-panel, 3-person panel from 3 different counties. We use Union, Gilchrist, and Dixie. They send people here to interview our teacher and ESP of the year candidates. And that's how we select our district person that represents us to the state of Florida. But on the school level, yes, like Paige said, they do it their own way. Every school does it however they deem in their school that they want to do it, you know, select their person.
And 2.11 is essentially a policy that's encouraging y'all to participate in different things in the schools. 2.12 is a policy that authorizes the board to have a legal counsel. Any questions, if you want?
It's a good one.
2.13 is a policy that authorizes the superintendent to retain legal counsel. And also 2.14 is authorization to retain legal counsel for employees if needed. These are various adopted plans that you have, and they come to you from time to time as things change. Some of these are actual policies and some of these are plans. Like the bloodborne pathogen is a policy.
About our ethics,
Yeah, I think that's in the policies.
in the policy. Well, you do that every year, right, with all the schools in,
Do that new employee orientation.
And we also do with, we try to do with all employees, school bus drivers, all minorities, for those. Another thing that we're required to do is talk to them and our employees and make sure that they'll recognize the symptoms of bullying and sexual and abuse and stuff like that, and how to report if they see something. Another requirement.
What, like bullying, where would that, what would that come in?
Well, that was just a sidebar comment. As Ms. Dean was talking about, every year she has to talk about ethics to the new employees. A part of this conversation we have every year is bullying and recognizing the symptoms and signs of that with all of our employees. And we do that with the school bus drivers, food service workers, the folks that come into contact with our kids.
It's in the code of conduct.
That we always put it in the code of student conduct.
Yes, it's the plan. You gotta have it everywhere. And the bullying policy is in policy, it's in the code of conduct, and it's also in the, it's in another publication. It's in 3 publications.
Check it out.
So, yeah, it's in to check it out.
Thank you, sir.
2.16 talks about equivalency staff and support services. And the superintendent has a staffing allocation that he uses each year to determine staff levels for the school. Is the school calendar, and this is a thing that I guess Ms. Dean is the one that kind of oversees starts the process, but it's really run by employees. And 2.18 talks about the school year, and that's how the seniors are get out a little early. 2.19 says we shouldn't, this comes on the eve of Cyber Monday, but personal business on school time, someone articled this morning about all the businesses. So,
needs to be reminded from time to time.
2.20, procedures for making a presentation to the board, and that's the last one. So if I understand your direction, 1.01 I'm going to update, and I'm going to have Michael Holman look at our school improvement plans and that nomenclature and work on that policy as well. Any other questions?
questions, comments regarding chapter 1 or chapter 2? Good, thank you.
Question for you, Mr. Chair. Do y'all want to do this at every board meeting, do a chapter at every board meeting, or once a month? Just so we can compare.
How many chapters are there? 12?
Yeah.
I'd say once a month.
Well,
That way it allows,
Morning meetings?
it can flop between either meeting. You know, you may have a meeting that's got a lot of stuff on it. And this does take time, and you need to be able to look at it. I think, like if you have a night meeting that isn't full, we do it at night. If you have a day meeting that's not full, we do it every day, once a month. Does that make sense? That way we have time to devote to this as well as the other business at hand, instead of rushing through either one.
We have a consensus in that direction.
Yes.
We take action, it's okay. So the next meeting, chapter 3,
Yes, sir.
not next meeting, but the January.
Do the second one, Jim, because the 6th has been canceled.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's it? All right, thank you.
January 20th.
Ms. Pam, do you have any changes to the minutes, November 18th?
Not to the minutes, no, sir.
Okay. Seeking approval for the November 18th minutes, Mr. Philpott.
Excuse me, sir.
We're looking for a motion to approve the minutes for the November 18th meeting.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? None, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Consent agenda, any changes to those?
Yes, sir, on page 1, under general items, A, personnel changes, recommendations, down to number 4. Jack Delaney Vision Christian Academy, we will insert Title I, OPS paraprofessional. That's a Title I position. That's the only change.
Okay, Ms. Brooks, do you have any questions, comments regarding the consent agenda or the addition to?
I have all been answered. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Howard?
Not to steal Mr. Philpott's thunder, but the meeting that took place after the last board meeting, so on the final drawings on E1A, the approval of phase 3.
Yes, sir. Those are all the documents that are back there on that back page. And these are the construction, you've already approved the phase 3 plans. These are the actual construction documents that show you all the wiring diagrams. These are the documents that go out to the contractor to bid.
That's all I
And it takes 2 people to put one half set.
can see.
Yeah. Not bad.
Mr. Asbell?
I think all my questions have been answered.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Philpott?
I have no question, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. And reflecting back to Mr. Howard's comments, that information is back there. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to take about a 3-minute break for anyone, either in the audience or any board member that would like to peruse any of those back there. Go ahead. So we'll recess for until 25 of, based on that clock up there.
So look at
We'll call the meeting back to order. And everyone had opportunity to comment or questions on the consent agenda. At this time, the chair will be entertaining a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. Any other comments? Any of the board members? Not. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item F, superintendent's comments, recommendations.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I think Mr. Hastings provided you with a copy of the resolution from Citrus County. And I know that from time to time this year, you have discussed whether or not the school board should adopt a resolution concerning the assessment and accountability and the swiftness of the rules, again, assessment and accountability that the state has imposed upon us. And what the superintendent would like to know is kind of what your direction is. He's reviewed this resolution here, if he likes this. And if that is so the direction of the board, he will, at your direction, he will prepare a resolution and present it to the board for your approval in the next meeting.
Okay. So, I think rather than a motion for that, I think we need to have it placed on the agenda for the next meeting. I don't know if that requires a motion to do that or not.
Can we put it on the agenda for him to bring this back?
That's what he's,
Yes,
he's
that's
asking.
right, yes, bring it on the
Then
agenda.
I move that we have the superintendent bring back a resolution regarding the testing and the assessment accountability, similar to the one Citrus County has here, so on the next board meeting.
So
And I
revised
strongly
for
second.
Levy, you want it to be
Yeah,
revised
yes,
for
ma'am.
us?
Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest any input, as you peruse it, board members, any input you may have on it, contact the superintendent for that to be included.
So he's using this one as a guideline for us to review. And then, is he gonna just rough draft and email us one so we can look at it before, or is he just gonna bring one for us to vote on? Is that what what is he just getting one together?
I would assume if it's going to be an agenda item, it will come out in your board packet ahead of time for you to review and ask questions. So you'll have enough time.
Yeah, I mean, I just know, we're going to the meeting, and it's gonna be a really hot topic, and there's gonna be a lot of comments and a lot of things information that we can ask and, discuss down there too with other, state board members, so.
If you'll notice on the last page of it, it does where the be it resolved begins, that's the area that does touch on the hot topics that appear to be smattered or scattered throughout the state as far as testing, accountability,
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one.
and money. And, telling them that we want them to fund any and all mandates that come from the legislators.
Could
So
you
that would be
take
good.
this one with you
Yeah,
and
yeah,
make your
yes, ma'am.
notes?
Absolutely.
And then
Thank you, yeah, it's a
pull
great
it
idea,
down,
thank you
and
very
then
much.
we'll
Okay.
put together any changes y'all have
Okay.
to
So-
this one.
And Cam, as soon as this thing is drafted up, that you'll send this out to board members ahead of time.
Yeah.
So, when you may have to prod the superintendent when we get back to get on that part of it, because I can almost tell you, if it is not included in the packet, there are certain board members that, and I would agree with them, that would not want to pass it or act on it.
So this, when y'all get your changes, send them in, and we can incorporate them.
In the draft. Thank you.
Okay, sir. And lastly, as we're reviewing these board policies, it talks about the school calendar. And in the school calendar here, last year, you approved to have 2 professional development days. Okay? And in your board packet, we just completed or just finished a evaluation of relaxed professional development day. And got comments on the professional development that was offered by the, at the professional development day for both elementary and secondary. So you have those comments, and I just wanted to, just FYI, how we, as the instructional team, choose what professional development to offer. Obviously, it's based upon where we need to improve instructionally. And if we get together a team of instructional personnel, together as the reading coaches and different folks that we have in our school to help us decide upon what's needed in our things. And like Mr. Philpott alluded to earlier, the best thing to do is if we can have our folks train our folks. And Mr. Hastings got a letter to you last time from one of the Williston Middle School teachers in the training that she provided. But Dr. Burnett, if you wanted to make some comments more on it.
Just general comments about the PE day. The staff did have an opportunity to respond, as Mr. Edison said. I won't go through all those, but as far as how those different sessions were selected, it was based on data. For instance, vocabulary is one of our lowest areas when we're looking at the reading scores. So we brought in Janet Allen, and you have the opportunity to look and see how the teachers responded to the Janet Allen training as their responses are recorded. Beyond that, I think that the board has expressed this, and our instruction team has talked about it in detail, and we are going to create a professional development advisory board made up of teachers to have them provide us input on those days. In addition to our coaches that have already been providing us that input, the principals, assistant principals, but what we want is a cross-section of content area teachers that will take a look at that next day that we're offering, the next PD day, and provide us input from people at their school, provide the input based on their content area, so that when we design these days, we are including the voice of our teachers. And also to take into account that we do have teachers that can present this material and be very effective in that, and to hear from folks within our county is always a good thing, so that will be another focus as we move forward.
That's pretty cool, in my opinion.
We're looking forward to working with them. It's going to be nice to have a diverse group of people from all the schools that are participating and giving us that input. Now, when we look at the survey results, they're mostly positive, but that's not to say we can't improve, and I think with this new approach, we're going to have a lot more teacher voice included in the training.
For the professional development.
For the professional development days, those 2 days plus the 1 day and the in-service day at the beginning of the year, which is, that pre-planning day is a little harder because we have so many things happening. We have CPR, we have a lot of folks being in different places, so it's not like those 2 days that we have during the year, the October and February trainings. So we'll also get their input on those days.
So I'm just glad to see you move it in that direction. I would like to offer maybe even a step farther in the sense that in none of the schools that I've been in, on certain days, the principal is having either grade level team meetings or team leaders meetings, and they at those meetings are discussing the data that they have in front of them. I see their laptops, and if they're going to be presenting, or they would be presenting after they have that meeting, information back to the teachers about the discovery in that data and what they felt should be done with it. So I'm glad to see us going in that direction as Mr. Philpott indicated.
Thank you.
Another comment, now, maybe I'm reading it wrong, I was a little disappointed in the participants in the survey. I would like to, and I know you probably do, but encourage you to make it as simple and short as you possibly can.
Yes.
Now, I know that, I know you want to find as much information as you possibly can, but I think, I would be, if I was doing this deal, if I was robbing this train, I would be more interested in what more people thought than answering a bunch of questions. I'm doing that right now, because that may change, you know, my goal may change a little later down the road, but right now I'd be more interested in what a lot of people think than just a small number with a bunch of different questions.
Small sample, and it did go out to all staff members, they all have an opportunity, but I agree with you that it's possibly the length and navigating it. But what we try to do is have them select with those radio buttons what they attended, so then they would only respond to the training that they attended. So that's why it looks longer. So really, most of them were only 6 or 7, about 6 or 7 questions per session, and then they had an opportunity to comment. But if they went to more than one session, they had to do that.
Why?
Because we wanted to see what their thoughts were on each of the sessions. But we'll definitely look at this.
Please don't misunderstand me. I think the idea of the survey is good. I think it's a very good idea.
We'll look at the length, definitely.
Nothing else on that? Anything else? All right, moving right along, board comments, we'll start on the far end of the Philpott. Those were your comments.
Have you heard anything from when they took the plans to Tallahassee about within a week or so, or anything from that?
My understanding, matter of fact, I was texting the architect last night, late. Everything's supposed to be going very well. And I know all the permits have been applied for, and the paperwork is.
And so we still,
Well, everything, since we're on February goes so far, thus far. As a matter of fact, since my next email is going to be to the contractor, waiting on your approval of the construction documents, so they go out to bid. I know that Gilbane is in contact with the city of Williston. I think I CC'd you on the email. They're going to be using City Hall to have some pre-bid construction meetings there. So the documents are going to be out for bid in about 15 minutes.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Mr. President?
I don't have a whole lot, nothing great shakes, nothing shaking the world out. Just, you have got a Christmas tree, Bronson FFA, Bronson FFA alumni, selling Christmas trees down here at the corner. Big, beautiful Fraser fir trees, and they are wonderful. Everybody here needs one.
Or two.
Yeah, a big house like Mr. Edison's got, he probably needs three. That's it.
Thank you.
I got it.
Mr. Kyle?
Thank you, guys. Well, I have a key lime pie that we'll enjoy at the next board meeting, so I froze it because I wasn't sure Mr. Turner was going to be here, but the key limes were grown on the campus there at Cedar Keys, and I'll get with you to collect the damage, so which I feel like we did pretty good so far work. So Ms. Stone McCain's upside down cake went for $250, so we did well at 100, so.
I said we pay $250.
No, so.
We're
But,
gonna pay 25 for it.
yes, so, but we appreciate you guys supporting you.
That was 125.
Yes, so,
Thank you.
minus my portion of that, so 25, so it's fine.
I understand. I don't know about
Carriers fee?
Carriage fee, yes, no carriage fee, so.
Did you get us a bigger?
I'm working on
We
it.
need to refer back to.
I just gotta remember when I get back to chief one, that's a little tough for me to do sometimes.
I'll go back to Chiefland, it'll be kind of tough for me too.
And I think, is it next week that sub-districts will be, so we'll have all of our FFA people will be out,
It's
so
in Chiefland, right?
participating. That is in Chiefland, yes.
Come on over.
So you will be going that way. Ms. Brookins, any other
I
comments?
don't have anything, that has been answered, thank you.
Okay, the chair has none except to thank Mr. Edison for filling in for the superintendent's absence today. He's a wonderful job. If there are no other comments, entertain a motion.
I look forward to seeing everybody at the school board meeting.
I moved to adjourn.
Second.
Move in second. Any questions?